Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Rudy's Rants, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez-Shomont. Before we jump in on this rant, thank you so much for your continued support of our channel. We greatly appreciate it. We're over 3,100 subscribers. Help us get to 3,200 the next day or so. We greatly appreciate it. We got some great stuff planned for this evening that you will see. Let's talk about the Chicago Sky Las Vegas Aces game today, in which the Aces won 77-75 on a buzzer beater layup by A'ja Wilson on a horrendously defended play out of a timeout with 1.2 seconds left. The only play the Aces could run, they ran, and Chicago failed to defend it, which is basically a backdoor screen that gets A'ja Wilson open for a wide open layup, which in the men's game would be an alley-oop dunk, which has happened plenty of times in the NBA. So it's bad defense all around. However, in the men's game, you do have more concerns about perimeter shooting in situations like that, whereas I don't know that you have the same concerns about perimeter shots in the WNBA, which is why this one was even more egregious to me, that it's not an alley-oop dunk, it's a layup. Catches a pass and lays it in. Like, it just should never happen. But I want to talk about A'ja Wilson. A'ja Wilson in this game finished with 20 points, 18 rebounds, and she had an otherwise awful game. She had 6 offensive boards, 12 defensive boards. She also had 2 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. Team was a -9 when she was on the floor in a game that they won by 2. So when she wasn't on the floor, they were +11. She played 33 minutes. So in the 7 minutes that she did not play today, they were +11. She was terrible today. Terrible. She finished 8 of 28 from the field. First quarter, she was 3 of 13 from the field. She had 5 layup attempts swatted by Kamilla Cardoso. Kamilla Cardoso defended her exceptionally well. She moved her feet. She swatted her stuff. She made it really, really difficult for A'ja Wilson today. But what I want to jump in on is what A'ja Wilson did at the end of the first quarter in the timeout break. They're running interviews naturally, like they do in all these sports now, where we can't have anything sacred. We can't just let players play. We got to get them at their most vulnerable and most emotional. And in women's basketball, definitely more emotional, because I've never seen an interview like this in a men's game in between quarter. Take a look for yourself.
With A'ja Wilson, and you're pretty fired up right now. What's going through your mind?
Everyone has to do their job. From the players to the refs to the coaches, we all have to do our job. And I don't appreciate being looked at and stared at as if you're trying to intimidate me or act like I don't have a voice on this court. So yes, we are messing up defensively, and it's like we're not engaged, and we need to get engaged, and that's on us. But also it goes hand in hand, and that's it. And if I get fined for this, I'm terribly sorry, but it's ridiculous. We've been going through this all season, so everybody got to do their job.
You heard A'ja Wilson voice her displeasure at the end of the first quarter at the officials. That's a rant on the officials. She wasn't happy with the officiating. I watched this game. She was 3 of 13 in the first quarter. She complained about 1 non-call in the first quarter during the quarter. So the 1 non-call that she's complaining about, which wasn't even a foul, I watched the game. She's sitting here having this tirade over, while admitting that her team is not playing well, not defending well. They were down 17-12 at the end of the first. And yet she's sitting here complaining about officials, while she takes the second most free throw shots in a game in the league. The first is Jewel Lloyd at 7.3. A'ja Wilson takes the second most free throws in a game, average per game, in the league at 7.1. She gets calls all the time. She just isn't guarded by 6'7" mountains most of the time. who also went to her school, who probably played against her in off season when still in college and have had experiences playing against her to have a good idea of her tendencies. But you're sitting here having this tirade about how you're not going to be intimidated by the officials. Really? Intimidated by the officials? Really? Because they looked at you? Maybe they're looking at you because you're acting like an ass. I don't know. I only saw you complain about, a call once in that first quarter that I can recall. That wasn't even a foul. And I don't know what you're looking for, but you didn't get fouled. You didn't get fouled. And you're sitting here having an absolute meltdown at the end of the first quarter because your team was 5 of 22 in the first, and you individually were 3 of 13. So the team was 2 of 9 besides you. You shot the ball too damn much in the first quarter. That's why you were down 20, 12, 17, 12. That's why y'all shot under 25% from the field. You shot that way because of you. You might be the best player in the WNBA. You might have the most points. You might be second in rebounding and all that stuff. And you might be regarded as the best player in the league. But you're sitting here complaining about stuff that you did. You're sitting here having a meltdown over some nonsense. You guys shot 11 of 38 in the first half. And yet you still led at halftime, despite shooting 11 of 38. How do you lead 11? How are you leading at the half 32 to 30 when you shoot 11 of 38? And you're whining about officials. The Chicago Sky shot 12 free throws. The Aces shot 10. That was the game. The Chicago Sky got called for 14 fouls. The Aces got called for 15 fouls. That was the game. It wasn't a poorly officiated game. Even though I don't think most of the WNBA officials are all that good, it wasn't a poorly officiated game. You played like shit. And you're sitting here having a meltdown in between quarters and talking about, I don't care if I get fined. Okay, get fined. But you sound ridiculous. You sound absolutely ridiculous. Complaining about officials at the end of the first quarter in a game you're down by 5 in because you shot like shit. And you didn't get fouled. Like you don't have a voice. No, you don't have a voice. You're not an official. So no, you don't have a voice. You don't make the decision as to what's called a foul and what's not. That's their job. That's their job. They have the voice. You take it or you don't take it, or you lose your mind and get a technical foul called on you. But that crap between quarters is a joke. You should be that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. I've never seen a post-quarter interview like that before from anyone. Maybe I haven't seen them all. Maybe not from a player. From a coach, possibly. But from a player, bitching and moaning about officiating and non-calls because you got your shots swatted multiple times. Not a good look for someone who's supposed to be the best player in the league. And I'm not sitting here saying you can't complain, you can't voice issues. Save that for post-game press conference. You don't do that mid-game. That's a joke. Save that for post-game press conference. Because it seems like you're more focused on the fact that the officials are not good in your opinion rather than playing ball. Because 8 for 28, you had a chance to redeem yourself the remainder of the game. You hit the game-winning shot. Congratulations. You went 5 of 15 the rest of the way. So 3 of 13 in the first. You shot way too much in the first. You made your team, you froze your teammates out. Your teammates weren't able to get in any kind of rhythm because you kept shooting the ball. And then you go 5 for 15 the rest of the way. So you shot 33% after the first quarter. And if you want to go a little deeper, they were 31 of 81. She took 28 shots. So they were 23 of 53 when she didn't shoot the ball today. That's 43.3%. So the team was 43.3%. Asia Wilson was 28.6%. Asia Wilson played like dog shit. And she's sitting here bitching about officials. I can't. Like, I can't. I can't. You're bitching about officials, and you took the most free throw shots in the entire game. You took 5 on your team. Kennedy Carter took 5 as well. Complaining about officials is not a good look for someone that's the MVP. That's the prohibitive favorite for MVP of the league. I just think it's a bad look, and I don't know what it is with Asia Wilson that just burns at me at times, because it's just like, dude, you're too good to complain so damn much. She complains a lot, and that they should fine her. They should. How about be more focused about winning than focused on how the officiating is going? How about you go off during the game rather than wait for a timeout? Draw a technical foul. That'll make your voice heard. Probably not the best idea, but hey, go for it. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think of that little tirade of Asia Wilson between the first and second quarter? But this is also why I don't like the interviews, because I think you catch them emotionally and they say things that they probably are going to regret, because I don't know what her salary is, but if she's fined $5,000 of her $240,000 salary, that's a substantial amount of change. I don't know what they get fined in the WNBA. I have no clue. But let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment. Love to hear what you got. Love to hear what you think about this one. Come on now.